the fact that, he's Clark's kind of forced into being Superman. But the thing is, after he's become Superman and people see him, he learns, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life, and that's what I'm going to do. So, yeah. And then it gives this really nice little talk about the costume. Sorry about that. It gives this nice little talk about the costume. Meaning that the costume actually has a meaning in the story. There's a meaning for the S. There's the Superman name. It didn't come from Lois Lane. It came from Jonathan Kent, which I think is a lot more meaningful and, also brings out a human side to Clark in a progressive way. And I've always wondered throughout my life, why does Superman's costume never burn? Why does it never tear or anything? Well, that's because it was made from the blankets that he was wrapped in and that they grabbed whenever they found him, and they don't burn and they don't tear because they're Kryptonian and they're super strong. And I liked that explanation for the invincibility of the suit. So yeah, he goes in and he fights Tyrell, and there's this big showdown which I think looks absolutely great. This is a wonderful showdown, and Superman comes on the spot. And I really like how Superman's drawn, but I'll get to that later. So yeah, this is really big, just wonderful, nice showdown, and gets to the end, and he decides, Jimmy Olsen ends up being the only person who gets a photo of Superman. So therefore, the Daily Planet is thrust into, the media world for being the only people who, who have access to Superman. And Clark is the only one who's ever had an interview with Superman, being that he, just wrote down pretty much him talking to himself. But still, that's a really good storyline. And yeah, so it's Lois and Jimmy at the end, and they're trying to get a shot, and, they're sitting there, and Lois is like, I don't think he's going to come, and this is pretty pointless. And then you hear Jimmy, and he's like, I got the shot, and it shows Superman flying by, and the story ends. Now, obviously, that was a really quick, 10 minutes, so yeah, I guess it was sort of quick, version of Superman. Earth 1. I really like this story. I really recommend you read it. It's not hard to read. I read it pretty quickly. So yeah, now I'm going to go into the artwork. I really like the artwork. I really liked Clark Kent, really, because he's drawn looking like a 20-something-year-old. That's really good. And I love how the city is drawn. It's a very modernized, but very, not... Being that it's modernized, it's not completely all futuristic and modern-y. There are run-down parts, and there are nicer parts, and it depicts that in the, the art that it did. And I just really love the art of this story. I think it's done very well. I love the art of Jimmy and Lois. Now Perry, he's done the exact same way. Yeah, there's Lois. She's drawn. She's one of the things that I use a lot, a little phrase that I use a lot that I really like is it's similar but different, and I really like that. That's how I like him. Here's Jimmy. Jimmy, obviously, and I love Jimmy's character. He's not used a lot, but I love the fact that, he's going to risk his life to get truth in a photographic form, and I like how that's done. Now, Clark himself, I think, is drawn wonderfully, as I've already said. Now, let me skip over to Superman, who I actually am a huge fan of how he's drawn. He's probably my favorite of anyone in here drawn-wise. Let me find a better picture. Just a picture that I think looks better. Here is Superman. And he's drawn very well, and I love it. I personally prefer the lean look of Superman over the muscular look, over like the blue bulky look, for the lean look. And yeah. There's really only one, I love the art. There's only one problem that I think there is in the art, and that's this. Clark Kent, when he goes into his Clark Kent stage, he looks very, very stupid, I think. I think what he should have done is, in the beginning story, he looked great, and I think they should have kept that. I think whenever he turns into the glasses Clark Kent, he should look like this. But he should have glasses and a tie, and I think he would be great. He would be perfect like that. Now, another thing that I love about this is the amount of realisticness. The realisticness is, I think, on a perfect level. Being that this is a superhero story, it's realistic, but not everything is believable. I'm not going to say believable. Everything I think is believable, but not everything is realistic. The fact that, at the end, Clark just puts on glasses and, people believe it. The fact that, he can take all these punches and just get hit. The fact that, people hadn't heard of him just from, his amazing tryouts and whatnot. He wouldn't be on the news, But it's a superhero story, so you can buy into the fact that people don't do that, and you just take it and you believe it. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. I think there wasn't much